Hi, I'm Shannon from houseimprovements.com, and I want to show you a little bit of maintenance you can do on your water heater yourself. And what we're going to deal with today is the dip tube of your water heater. What the dip tube is, it's on the cold side, the inlet side of your water heater. And what it does is it's a plastic tube. This is a new one right here. So this tube here is inside your water heater, hooked on your cold water side. So your plumbing of your house is coming in here. There should be a valve up here. And this tube, you can see this nipple here is the same as this one on this side. So this tube is actually down inside the water heater. What it does is it forces water down to the bottom and forces the hot water up. Now I'm going to show you how to change that, but first I just want to show you the internal part of the water heater. So we've actually cut a hole in a water heater, in an old water heater. You can see what happens. Here's the dip tube right back here. This is it. Okay, this one actually is in good shape. It really wouldn't have had to been changed, but we're just using this as an example. What happens is the cold water is forced down this tube to the bottom of the water heater, and hot water is then forced up, right, and comes out here. If you're having a problem where you're showering and within very short amount of time the water's already getting cold or cooling off, a couple 3 minutes, what's actually happened, more than likely, your water heater isn't going. What's happened is this tube has rotted away, and they do over time. You can see down here in this tank, here's remnants of one. Here's one that's just fallen off at some point. At some point this one just came unhooked and it's done. So what happens is these tubes rot off or fall off and become shorter. So if you can imagine, if this tube only came down this far, your cold water comes in, right away it's mixing with the hot water in the top of the tank. Well, that's cooling off that water that's leaving the tank immediately, instead of being pushed down to the bottom and allowing you to use up all this hot water that's above it. Okay, so that's a very typical scenario, and some plumbing places will try to sell you a new hot water heater telling you that it's buggered, and it actually isn't. It's just that dip tube needs to be changed. Okay, so to change the dip tube, it's really not that difficult. I'm just going to spin this around to this side. So this is a gas water heater. An electric really would be some of the same principles. On the gas one though, most times you'd have a chimney piece here. You need to unattach that, and you need to also take off this shield here. Okay, so it's usually 2 to 4 screws holding it on, and they're just screwed through the white outer case of the hot water heater. So take that off, get it out of your way so you can get good access to this. Okay, obviously before you've done all this, you've turned off your gas or your electricity. You've also drained 5 or so gallons of water out of the hot water heater after you've turned off the water supply. Okay, so turn off the water supply, turn off the heating system, and drain some water out so it relieves some pressure. Okay, so you've done all that. Then also, so you've got a valve up here, hopefully. If not, you'll have to turn off your main water. It's off. You're going to have to cut the copper pipe to also do this as well. So the first thing you can do, you've cut the copper pipe off. There's going to be a fitting of some kind. Oh, this whole thing is turning here. So you need to get the copper pipe off of this fitting. Okay, so I'm using the pipe wrench to hold the fitting from turning so that I can turn this copper line off. Okay, so this would come off and just get set to the side. That's pretty rusty. Okay, so set it to the side. Then we can take, basically on this particular one, there's a couple different styles, but on this particular one, the dip tube and everything's hooked right to the nipple. Okay, so we need to take that right out. And I had actually loosened that a bit when I took off that first fitting. Usually it'll be a little tighter than that, but you should still need a pipe wrench to do it. So we'll get this turned out of there. It's coming. Okay, so we've got the fitting loose. Now that dip tube, that plastic part, there's a bit of friction there holding it in at the seal. So just keep wiggling it around. And eventually that all would come out. Now, if yours is in bad shape, it's going to be, much shorter, or might even be non-existent at this point. So get your new, your new one, which in our case was this. You can see this one is longer than it would need to be. What I do is I'll slide that down in there all the way to the bottom till it contacts the bottom. Okay, and then, so let's just say it hit the bottom there. Then I'll pull it up about 3 inches. Okay, and then do this. Okay, so now this is obviously way shorter than it would normally be, but the distance you had left from where you marked with your finger is what you need to get for a total distance of the pipe going into the tank. Okay, so just cut it off simply with a hacksaw or anything. It's not that heavy a pipe. Stick it back in again. Make sure that it's not going to hit the bottom, that you've got it done right. I don't want to cut that new one and ruin it for use later on. Okay, so you've got your new one. We'll say this is the new one. We've got it cut to the length we wanted. You're going to put some wrap of Teflon tape, a couple wraps around this fitting where it screws into the tank. Try not to disturb if there's a bunch of crud or rust or anything up on here. Try not to disturb it and knock it into the tank. I mean, if you do, you do. It's not too much you can really do to prevent it, but get your dip tube down in there again. Okay, get it to make contact with the threads there, and like I said, you'd have some Teflon tape on there as well. Get it started in so you know it isn't cross-threaded, and get it down a good couple revolutions so you're in there 2 or 3 threads. There's no reason. Come on. There's no reason to absolutely go crazy on getting it tight, but like I said, if you got it down about 2 or 3 full revolutions of the fitting, then you should be good. Then you would take your piece that you cut off, if it's reusable. That one was really getting corroded up. And again, Teflon tape. Thread that on. Put your pipe wrench on there again to keep this from twisting. Tighten the two together. So you want to tighten this fitting tight to there. Okay, I'm just doing it finger tight as an example, but okay, tighten that right up. And then you'll have to reconnect, usually with a solder joint or whatever, your copper pipe to here. There is also, if you're kind of wanting to change it over, you can put flexible braided lines that go from, they've got this fitting on one end, and the other end is a push fit type connector that pushes onto the end of your copper or even PEX plumbing. If you're not familiar with push fits, you can check out my video on our channel here that looks at different push fit fittings. But basically it's just a flexible braided hose. Well, they can be up to 18 inches long, and it is kind of nice for using in this situation. Okay, so you get it all hooked up, get your water line hooked up. You can then hit your cold fill valve, fill the heater, let the water run and fill the heater back up. Relight your pilot light, and just check then that you've got no leaks here or anything, or up on any soldering that you maybe did up top here too. So first time doing it, once you have all your gear together, it might take you, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes maybe at the most to actually do this. The tube itself, the replacement tubes, most of them are going to be under 20 bucks. So it's a pretty inexpensive fix. And even if you have to hire a plumber to come change the dip tube, it's still going to be way cheaper than $1,000 for a water heater and the labor to change it out. So consider that next time you're noticing that you're not getting as much hot water as you should be for as long. It could be just your dip tube has disappeared or broken down and gotten too short. So hopefully that kind of helped you with a little bit of home maintenance you can do with your water heater. Just be careful as always. Safety glasses. This is hot water and it's under pressure, so just be careful. You want to make sure you do drain some, and even then just be cautious when you first cut this pipe and stuff, in case there's a little bit of pressure there, because it can be scalding hot still. So, okay. So I'm glad that you're able to watch and stick with me through the whole thing. And if you like what you've seen, I'd appreciate if you click the subscribe button and check out all our other videos. Subscribe to our channel, and maybe head over to our website at house-improvements.com. We've got lots of articles there as well on DIY type projects, and we've got a forum page there too that you can go on and ask your questions, or maybe just browse through and see if anybody has already asked the same question you have and had it answered already. But if not, it doesn't matter. Just post it up there again and I'll be sure to answer it. Okay, so thanks for watching.